Welcome to the D1 Diary. I'm Madison Donley.
And I'm Skylar Shellmeyer.
This podcast is to give current and former athletes at the collegiate or professional level the light to share their individual and personal stories about life during athletics and everything behind the scenes.
Although the landscape of college athletics is ever changing, we want to give these athletes the opportunity to discuss the real thoughts and effects of what happens inside the minds of collegiate athletes. Welcome back to the D1 Diary. Today we have on Cam Porter and KJ Howard. Both of these individuals currently play football. Cam currently plays at Northwestern. He is a running back with 1,400 yards and 12 touchdowns in his career. He's originally from Cincinnati, Ohio, and is the co-owner of the brand desireLess. KJ Howard originally started his football career at Hawking College and then transferred to Ohio University. He is also a running back and a current player at Ohio and is the co-owner of the brand desireLess. Welcome on, Cam and KJ. Thank you, KJ and Cam. We really appreciate you all hopping on and joining us on our podcast. Just to jump right in, I know the both of you just started a hat company called desireLess. I want to know about the brand, how it got going, and what maybe your goal is, and then why the name desireLess.
Me and KJ, we've been buddies since high school, played football together, kind of became best friends throughout high school, kind of built a strong bond. As we went off to college, obviously we went our separate ways, start living our own separate lives, but we wanted to form something or create something that could keep us together, keep us working on stuff together, keep us communicating with one another. And at the same time, we also wanted to start a business and learn about business. We figured that would be the best way to get a true understanding of how business works. So we figured, what are we going to do? We really loved hats. We always rocking hats, always wearing hats. So we kind of figured, okay, let's start a little hat company. And yeah, we named it desireLess. And the idea behind it is desiring less of what society deems important and finding true contentment within yourself rather than the world. So I think we're going on 1.5 years right now. Like you said, it's been a hat business in the past, but we're kind of trying to expand right now. And we're trying to make it more of a lifestyle brand, something that people can connect to, finding true contentment within themselves rather than the world.
Yeah, he kind of really touched up on it. Coming out of high school, we were best friends and everything. We got to college, and we were like, me and Ken, we always been determined. I would say we kind of separated a lot from our friends. Not really like separated in like friendship wise, but our mindset was a little different. We always wanted more. We always push each other hard, even back in the weight room. We were in football, we always be like first ones in, last one out type of guys. So we always pretty much had a mindset of doing more, and we had a vision of being our own boss and having our own business. So that's kind of where we started with desireLess. Like Kim touched on, it's really desiring less of what society deems important. Really, there's a lot of distractions in the world we live into today. There's certain things trying to get you off your purpose. They want you on your phone, scrolling nonstop, mindlessly with TikTok, social media. You got drama going on. You got a whole bunch of things going on to really kind of knock you off your purpose. And really, what desireLess is about is really focus on yourself. If you wake up every day, you try as hard as possible to be the best version of yourself through you play a sport, through training, through school academics. Just constantly evolving, adapting, being the better 2.0 version of yourself, you will really find true contentment within yourself. And that's what we really strongly believe. And like I said, we're kind of pivoting from a hat brand to a lifestyle brand. And it's kind of basically working off our leverage. We started off with hat brands, wanted to start off with something, but we realized why not use the leverage we have right now? We're athletes, we're D1 athletes. We kind of been through a little bit. We had some experience, trials, tribulations, resilience within sports, mental health, all those things like that. So we feel like we want to help other people to become the best version of themselves. So that's kind of what we're heading at right now. So we're kind of like in a rebranding phase, really.
Yeah, I love that. Can you define what you mean by lifestyle brand and what kind of products you're expecting to now put out besides hats?
We want to make it a brand that's more than just selling clothes. We want to make it something that people can relate to, people can connect to. And I mean, we want to sell clothing, whether that's hats, shirts, shorts, and apparel, but it's a little bit bigger than just the clothing within itself. It's about connecting to something and understanding that, okay, when I think of desireLess, I think about improving myself. I think about getting 1% better every day. So that's our mindset and our mentality. We want to create content and push content that people can connect to that just makes them want to be better versions of themselves.
Being student athletes, what kind of distractions did you face while trying to focus on football and academics when you talk about the distractions of everyday life?
I would definitely say distractions for me personally when I first got to college is one, you're kind of in a new world. You're adjusting to a new life. Before then, you had your parents that had your life structured out. They told you, do this at this time, do this at this time. So when you go to college, it's freedom. And you have the option to do pretty much whatever you want. And so, like, a lot of the stresses you face with is peer pressure, temptations with other people that might want you to kind of get you off your purpose. They might want you to stay up late. They might want you to go party. They might want you to do certain things you might not supposed to do. So those are kind of distractions that you face, along with a bunch of other things.
So you want to be more like content creation almost?
Content creation is a part of it. We're in a day and age where content creation is only going to get bigger. Every company, every brand in the future is going to have some part of content creation in their business. So it's definitely a part of it, especially when you're kind of growing your audience. You have to grow our audience, and the best way to do that is create content that kind of relates to people, to really niche down to a specific niche of people that you want to kind of grow. We want to offer a lifestyle brand, not just clothing, but we want a community. We want people to come to a space where they can feel safe, where like, you know what, maybe I don't want to do certain things that everybody else is doing. Maybe I'm really into trying to improve my life and trying to be the best version of myself. So you can come along to the Zales where we can kind of have, in the future, we want to have like Discord groups, communities where we're sending out motivational messages. We're tapping in with people. One day we can have meet and greets and meet with people. We really want to change people's lives and betterment for the society in the future.
So you're planning on doing grassroots events with the brand.
We're trying to have a foot in everything. We're trying to be in every environment. We've talked about potentially opening up gyms, having camps. We just think desireLess can literally blow up in every aspect.
I know you both mentioned you always felt different from your peers, a little more motivated and focused on sport. How early was desireLess an idea? What was that process between idea and talking about the brand and actually launching it?
Yeah, so we kind of been thinking about having our own brand. I would say definitely 2022, maybe around this time in 2022, so like kind of like the springtime. We really like officially launched desireLess November 2022. We didn't really know the name. We were battling through. We didn't really know like how to really express this name or what the movement that we wanted to share. We had some ideas, kind of bouncing ideas back and forth, brainstorming, outreaching to other people. Hey, getting insight. What do you think? And we kind of came around desireLess. I forget who really picked that. I want to say Cam definitely might have came up with the name, and it kind of just stuck. Like you hear something the first time, just like the light bulb goes off, and it was kind of that situation. So that's kind of what we decided to pick on desireLess.
And then as far as going so far as to manufacture clothing, did you have to put a lot of research into that? Did you have connections? What did that look like?
So the way we kind of split up our responsibilities in terms of the brand, I come up with a lot of the designs. So designs that we have, designs that we put on, whether that's a shirt, whether that's a hat, whether that goes on the site, is usually my work. And Kevin is really good at discovering manufacturers, communicating and contacting the manufacturers, and basically just finding the best deals that will work for the brand in general. So down the line, we're going to expand and having other people help us out in those certain aspects. But as of right now, we have split our roles, and it kind of works for the business thus far.
You're both current football players at different schools, so you're far away from each other. I can only imagine how busy the both of you are every day, every week. How did you balance this with the demands of academics?
Yeah, it definitely takes a lot of time management skills. It's something that we had to learn and kind of adapt to. Really, how can you optimize the most time you have in a day with football, with school, with communicating with each other? And in the startup process, it kind of was a lot of back and forth. Okay, like, what should we do? Should we do this? Do you like this design? Okay, should we do hats? Should we do clothing? So it was kind of a lot of communication. So it really came down to time management and really understanding and prioritizing what's important. We feel is whatever you find important in life, you will always make time for. So we kind of realized this is something we want to do along with our football career. Football, academics, our brand. And that's the top three things we kind of put in front of us at the moment. So that's how we maneuver through it. It's difficult because sometimes our schedules might not align. Cam might be busier later in the day and then I'll be free later in the day, and then he might be free in the morning and I might be busy during the morning. So it's kind of hard to like bounce that out. But we've always found a way to get in touch with each other, and we have any important decisions to make, we get in contact. So it's just like it's really coming down to optimizing the time management, and that's how I feel you can really structure it out in your life.
Let's be clear, we're not perfect whatsoever. We struggle on a daily basis, just like every other person. But like Kevin said, it's just finding those extra minutes in the day where, okay, should I be scrolling on my phone or should I be working on the business that I want to form with one of my best friends? So it's a constant battle. We're constantly at war with ourselves, with the world, just trying to find ways to maximize time, effort, and energy. So yeah.
I think that's such a valid point because with Madison and I feel like we're going through the same things right now, trying to balance because we're working. You guys are playing a sport, but it's the same thing. Like, just trying to find time to do this project and also trying to make money off of it, which is like a step we have to get to. But have you guys made money? Have you seen the light at the end of the tunnel? Or is it kind of just still having that hope and faith that this is going to work out, or you maybe have not had any profit to kind of give you that incentive right away?
We definitely have made some money. I wouldn't really say profit because I look at it as more of like revenue based when a company is really starting off. We really want to focus on making money for the brand rather than money for ourselves. We're not really in it right now to make money for ourselves. We're really trying to make money for the company and grow. And we feel like a lot of companies, when you're kind of in that first 1 to 5 year, or when you're really trying to get to that first, $10,000, the first, 100,000 million, you're really more focused on revenue. So right now we have people supporting from our families, our teammates, people showing love. We made money, but it's also we missed out on some money because I'm not gonna lie, we're not perfect. We made a lot of mistakes. Started on our brand thinking, well, if I like it, everybody should like it. And that's the problem that a lot of entrepreneurs face when they're creating a product is they expect everybody to like it. And not that people didn't like it, but in our mind, we're like, man, this is going to be the X, Y, and Z, and something we figured out that's not how things work. Learning from that experience and understanding that it's more so focused on really kind of building that audience, really building that community. Because when you build that community, they're going to vouch for you, whatever. You can sell a freaking paperclip. They're going to buy it because they rock with you for who you are instead of just a product.
Absolutely. I'm curious, what are you doing to build that audience? Is that through football connections or is that through other ways?
Yeah, so right now we're really building our audience. Right now we're kind of in the rebranding phase. So, we're trying to upgrade our content creation. We're talking to videographers to really shoot cinematic videos. And when we start like marketing our stuff, we kind of wanted to build a connection with the audience. I read a book called Contagious, and it pretty much talked about how to make content go viral. And he used these principles called steps, where it's like certain things that makes an audience connect to a certain piece of content. And one of the things that they talk about is storytelling. So that's kind of one of the things we want to emphasize. It's like really create like storytelling and emotional connection with our content, like a journey. The stuff that we're preaching, the stuff that we're putting out, we're still in the process of it. And that's the beauty of it. We're still in the make. I'm 23, Cam's 22. We're at the beginning. That might be a bad thing because some people might be like, oh, where's your credibility? We're showing people that you get to see the process of us grow and grow and grow. And hopefully 5 years, 10 years down the road, it's a story that we can show to people and they can really connect. You know what? If they do it, then I can do it. Because in reality, you can really do anything you want to if you put your mind to it. And we strongly believe that.
I think we need to read that book for ourselves. I think that would be super awesome for us. What's it called again? Contagious?
Yeah, Contagious by Jonah Berger.
Secondly, I do love that message of right, you can be anything you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. It might take some work, but you can do it. I think a lot of people think it's overnight. And I think that's such a facade. And I was having this conversation with a lot of people, but it's almost weird to think about. I'm going to use the brand like Culver's, for example. We've always known it as Culver's. It's always just been there as this solid thing that makes money and is really profitable. But I've always thought about like, how do people get from where they were to where they are now? I think that process is just so mind-boggling to me because everything we see on social media is just boom, these companies are there and that's what they are and they've been there forever. But that's not true, right? And I think this generation who's constantly indulging in social media and constantly scrolling, it makes me feel hopeless because it's like, well, I can't get going. And I feel like that a lot. Like, I'm like, how can I make a name for myself now that I'm done with softball? I feel like I don't know where to go and I want to be here, but like, how do I get there?
On top of hopeless, I would say it gives people delusion, a false sense of reality. A lot of people see the overnight success, but they don't see the hard work that that person put in. Who knows? That person could have been grinding for 5, 10 years underground. Nobody knows, but they see one video, they see one piece of content that shows, oh, the overnight success, and everybody thinks, oh man, he did it overnight. They think, well, I can do it. So when they go out and they start a business, or they go out and they try to achieve anything like a goal, and they don't make it the first time, they think, oh man, it's just a waste. When in reality, you need to stack days and hours into that skill set until you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I think the reality is there's no such thing as an overnight success. It's usually tons of hard work behind the scenes. A recent brand that I love their story is Poppy Soda. I don't know if you've heard of them. They were branded as Mother, apparently, for years. Their packaging looked way different. Nobody had really heard of them. It wasn't selling super well. They completely rebranded as Poppy, and now it's flying off the shelves. And it's in almost every major grocery store now. So it just goes to show a brand could be around for 5, 10 years. Nobody knows what it is. And then all of a sudden you rebrand and you reach the right audience, and it does super well.
I'm a big Nipsey Hussle fan, and he's a rapper, but also just a motivational individual for the Black community. And his saying is, "The marathon continues. You got to run life at your own pace. It doesn't matter how long it takes to cross the finish line." That's what me and KJ have kind of built desireLess on, through the ups and downs of what life has thrown at us, what football has thrown at us, and we just understand that it's a marathon. Just step after step, day after day, the results will come eventually.
Who is your audience? Is it athletes, current, former athletes, professional athletes?
When looking at it, specifically when you're starting a business, you have to really come to a specific niche. And right now, our specific niche, with using our leverage of us being athletes, we kind of can relate to athletes, but not just only athletes. Pretty much, we kind of can say entrepreneurs in a sense, because those are people who are really self-improvement heavy, or casual gym goers. Even if you're in a recreational, you're just working out, you're showing self-improvement. You're desiring less. You're focusing on yourself to be the best version of yourself. So pretty much, I would say our specific audience right now is, it could be athletes, regular people who just want to be the best version of themselves. It could be somebody who's 10 years old. It could be a lady who's 90 years old. If you're still trying to be the best version of yourself, your audience is desireLess.
Yeah, I'm just curious. You guys have talked about some challenges in the beginning process of creating this business. Do you have any personal stories you'd like to share that got in the way of the brand, or things that just didn't work out?
Yeah, so basically, we were looking for manufacturers. We had not yet tapped in with our overseas manufacturers, so we were just doing local places. I'm not going to say their name or, put them on blast or anything like that. So we got our first batch of hats from these specific manufacturers, and they came out great. Everybody loved them. We sold out in less than, I think, a week and a half. So we're like, boom, business is booming. We kind of decided, okay, they liked the first batch, so let's come out with a different design, maybe a different fabric. And I think, like, okay, these might be good and people might enjoy these as well. I do the same process. I would go look at the hats on the computer of the manufacturers and just sign off on them and everything like that. Everything looked great. We really liked these new batch of hats, and we like, okay, boom, we're going to be selling out again in another week and a half once we get these hats. So they call me about a month later. I go to pick up the hats, and I'm super excited. And then I get there, and I kind of open up the box, and he shows me, and it's these small, miniature, flimsy hats that literally don't even fit on a normal person's head. I'm freaking out because we spent all this money. We spent all the money that we made off of our first batch on the second batch. These hats look like something out of a circus. It was crazy. So that was kind of a big bust where we bumped our heads, and we figured, okay, now everything that we do needs to be sampled. There's no reason that we should be ordering in bulk without seeing a product first. It was a speed bump. It was a learning curve that we had to go about, but we're glad that we made those mistakes early. We still have those hats. They did not sell. And that's okay. It's a part of the story. It's a part of the process. We're happy that we were able to experience it early.
Like the brim was freaking this long, bro. You like a freaking platypus. You turn sideways, bro. The brim like out here. You touch the mesh point, it sinks in. It was a lot. And I have another story. We got scammed. All right, so this goes back to the back when we're kind of starting out. We're trying to get our logo, man. We're on Instagram trying to find people who make the logo. We DM this guy. We find a page. We're like, man, this good guy. He got a good following. He has some good art. We DM him, talking, looking for a design. This and I said, yeah, got it. Communicating back and forth. Send him 30. Man, hear back from that dude, bro, at all. Straight scammed us, bro. Then I started looking at his page. Bro got like, he got like 1,000 followers, but getting like 3 likes, no comments. You can't even comment. That's how I knew it was fast. Yeah, it's over with, Kim. You got scammed.
You like Venmoed this guy for a logo and he just never gave you one?
He said send him 30 as a deposit and then send the other 50 once it's complete. So, I mean, he just came up on an easy 30 off some young entrepreneurs who are trying to start their business up, but all is well. We wish him the best.
Was this $30 or like 30 grand?
Oh no, $30.
Okay.
If it was 30 grand, I would have turned it to John Wick and I had to find that man myself. I'm not going for none of that. So I'd have to find it myself.
So I want to know what your majors are and if that has helped you in this process, or if your majors really maybe don't relate at all, but you guys just want to be entrepreneurs.
I'm a learning and organizational change major, a little bit of CESP love. I graduated last fall. Yeah, last fall, right after the football season. And I just recently started my master's in sports administration. I think LOC has a bunch of good qualities that has allowed me to understand how an organization is supposed to work, how to make it successful, what makes it fail. But this sports administration master's has really helped me. I actually took a class last quarter on sports finances, and that kind of really helped me understand how money works on a large scale. So I'm really excited to use some of these tools that I'm learning in that to apply to the business, understanding revenue streams, understanding how to make profit off of certain things. So I'm super excited.
When I first got to my university, because first out of high school, I went to junior college, and junior college you get like a basic general degree just so you're able to transfer anywhere. So when I first got to college, decided to be a computer science major. Did that for a semester. Absolutely hated it. It's hard. It's the hardest thing. Like you just coding, bro. Like I just couldn't do it. So I switched, and I'm in a major called specialized studies, where I create my own major. So right now I'm taking a lot of entrepreneur courses, marketing courses, communication courses, and I feel like those are 3 factors that I wanted to really get into. Entrepreneur, obviously, because with entrepreneur mindset, marketing, because you need to understand how to market whatever you're trying to sell, and communications, which is a sleeper, which a lot of people really don't really emphasize on, but it's important. Communication, sales. How can you sell your product? How can you get people to buy into what you're doing? Understanding how to communicate within an organization, how to deal with employees, how to deal with management, with venture capitalists when we get to that point. So that's kind of where my major is. I graduate this upcoming fall.
That's awesome that you were able to find a major or a path that has fit your needs and what you want to get out of life. And Cam, I took the exact same route as you. I was an LOC major, and then I got my master's in sports administration. And I think that major, LOC in general, was so eye-opening to me. I felt like it really gave me the desire to want to do school because I was actually interested in the topics we were learning, and I felt like I could apply it to everyday life, not just sport and not just business, but literally functioning and interacting with people. So I love that degree so much. CESP love, like you said, and I think the sports administration master's is also awesome, and it's pretty broad, but I think it kind of gives you a little bit of everything. And then KJ, I also love that you're able to kind of pick and choose what classes you want to take and make your own major and take the classes that are going to help you build this brand.
I just want to kind of pivot and let's talk about NIL in the context of your brand. How has NIL approach or affected your approach to entrepreneurship and branding?
Obviously, we understand now as student athletes that we can make money off of our name, image, and likeness. And our approach towards it, we're not looking at it as an opportunity to make money for ourselves, but we're looking at it more for opportunity to, like I said, continue to build the brand. We're not thinking about us at all. So we're thinking about leveraging our friends that are at different schools. We have buddies from all over the country. So we're thinking, okay, how can we take our brand and take our connections and continue to make money and benefit them as well as benefit our brand? So as we talked about earlier, we're going to continue to expand. And as we expand, we're going to tap into those connections. We have buddies in the NFL, we got buddies in college. So we're just really trying to find opportunities and different ways to make money for them and then continue to build our brand. So we're still in the working process of figuring that out, but I think it's a code that can be cracked because there's a lot of money out there to be made.
I think it's interesting, and I know you both told me that you don't really do a lot with NIL, and I was kind of in the same boat. I never really did much with NIL. I just want to play my sport. But I told you guys this prior, but before NIL was legal, student athletes couldn't even have a side project. Or I'm pretty sure I saw an article about a musician. He was a student athlete, and he couldn't even use his real name when he went and performed because that is using his name, image, and likeness. So do you plan to use your name, image, and likeness on the field to help promote your brand? Because not only of just like making money for you, but just to get it out there. If you have a good game or your televised game, like wear your merch, put it out there. Do you think that would be beneficial or no?
Yeah, that would definitely be beneficial. You're using yourself to promote your brand. You're actually using your school's platform. You're using your resources. And that's kind of like to say, how are you using your resources? As college athletes, we have a certain audience, a certain set of eyes that are looking at us because the schools we go to, because the sport we play. So how can we leverage that and use those resources to get our brand out there? Work, like I said, it's NIO is a big game changer. You have the opportunity to really make something big for yourself and really put something bigger and really use this platform that we've both been blessed with and really create a name for ourselves post football career. Because like, we envision this for something to be long down the road. This isn't something like I say instant gratification. It isn't something for the now. It's for the future. We're going to be talking about desireLess when we're freaking 45. It's going to be hopefully there's a billboard, big old something down in Chicago saying desireLess. That's how we look at it.
What advice would you give current student athletes who are interested in pursuing entrepreneurial endeavors while balancing their athletic commitment?
I would say do it right now. You need to learn how to do it when you're busy because when in life you're not going to be busy. You're going to be busy for the rest of your life. So learn how to operate a business now. Take action now. Don't sit and be like, you know what? I'm thinking about this. I wish this. No, do it now because you're going to gain experience that a book can't teach you. You're going to gain certain things. You're going to learn a lot of things, and like, you're going to learn to operate while multitasking your athletics and academics. Because who knows down the future, you're going to have to balance your business on top of what your family, on top of other situations, more responsibilities you have as an adult.
And then my advice on that topic would be stop letting society put you in a box. Obviously, as student athletes, we care a lot about our sport. We've been good at our sport for our entire lives. But at the end of the day, you can't let society put you in a box. We all have different interests. We all have different things that we like to experience, that we like to indulge in. And me personally, I went through kind of a season-ending injury that allowed me to find my purpose outside of sport. It allowed me to find different things that I like. I had never sat down and read a book in my life before my injury. After my injury, I'm reading 3 to 4 books every couple months. So that would be my biggest advice. If you want to pursue something, don't let society or your coaches or your environment try to label you or put you in a box.
I think that's a really valid point, and I've said this a lot, but I think a lot of people obviously look at injuries as a very negative thing, right? Because it's taking you away from that opportunity to be on the field and play the sport you love. But me going through injuries, and I know Madison also had a season-ending injury, multiple season-ending injury, but I think it's definitely a blessing in disguise. It forces you to take that step away from your sport and try to figure out, okay, who am I outside of this physical thing I do? Because it's going to end at some point, whether it's after you're done with your 4 years of eligibility or after your football, NFL playing career or after your professional playing career. There can be a good side of injury, and that's finding your purpose or finding your identity outside of sport and really being internal. And I think this loops back to your whole brand message of desireLess. How are you pouring into yourself even though when times are tough? How are you becoming the better version of yourself outside of your sport that you're physically playing?
Really emphasizing to evolve and become better and learn. You never know too much about anything, even something that you know a lot about, even football. I'm constantly watching film, constantly learning a lot from my coaches, constantly asking people information, asking other players, what did you see right here? What did you see against this coverage? Hey, ask a young guy, ask an older guy. So right now, I'm constantly trying to learn, constantly trying to improve. And you have to have that mindset. You never can be complacent because once you be complacent, that's when you start going downhill because you never stay the same. Either you get better or you get worse. If you're not getting better, you're getting worse. So really understanding that you have to keep learning, and this is mandatory for success.
Talking about success, what are 2 short-term goals you have right now for your business while you're still playing?
2 short-term goals. So right now, a short-term goal right now that we want to do is right after spring ball. We're both in spring ball right now, so we're in a busy, tough situation where we're having practice, we're having workouts, class on top of that. So we haven't really been focusing on our brand too much right now. So spring ball is ending for both of us soon within these next couple of weeks. After spring ball, we have a couple of things in line that we need to do. So a short-term goal right now is one, make these adjustments, get in contact with these people that we need to contact, take action on these things that we need to take action on. And then another short-term goal is a drop by June.
I like that you guys are thinking about setting goals, and I think it's important to have some short-term goals that you can easily take action on rather than just this one large thing and it seems impossible to get there. This leads me to my next question. So you said you want to drop in June. How can listeners listening to this podcast or your supporters on any social media platforms, how can we support you and your brand and help you get to where you want to be?
Yeah, we're really trying to grow our social medias at the moment. So you can access all of our social medias at desireLess 1122 Instagram, as well as our YouTube. And our website is shopdesireLess.com. So yeah, we're really excited to continue to grow our socials, and we're really excited to get everybody on board for this drop that's potentially coming in June. So super excited.
For this drop coming in June, do you have any sort of apparel lineup pre-planned?
Yeah, so right now we're in the works of that. We have certain things we need to situate right now. So hopefully after spring ball we get together. But we definitely have some ideas in the chamber right now. We've been bouncing ideas back and forth. Some things that we really think that people really rock with, and that could be cool. You mind if I ask a question? Just one question. I know it's your podcast, but you mind if I ask you a question? Just a little bit.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. What's one way you guys want to desire less after this podcast?
That's tough.
One way you can improve. One way you're going to make your life more efficient. One way you're going to make your life better. One way you're going to make the future you proud of yourself right now.
I'm going to answer this on an individual and then with our brand right now.
Go ahead.
On a personal level, I've tried to get rid of the social media platforms that don't give me what I need. So I don't have Snapchat. I don't have TikTok. I rarely use X or Twitter. I really just have Instagram just to promote what we got going on. But I felt like when I think of desireless, I think of or desire less, I think of marketing. And when you're on TikTok, I'm constantly being marketed to and just wanting these things that I would never ever want on a day-to-day basis. And I've noticed that I don't buy anything on Amazon anymore because I don't have TikTok marketing to me, right? I don't know what's in or hip. Second way is I'm really trying to, I might be making a career switch. I'm not sure yet, but I'm trying to not worry about the what ifs or what if nots. I'm trying to make a decision and make it the right decision instead of, oh, I made this decision and then regret not doing the other one. I'm just going to try to make it the right decision. But I'm also just going to try to lead into letting the universe play out. And I'm going to go where I'm meant to be. I think I'm trying my best to embrace that, but it's a work in progress. And then with our brand, I think Madison and I are very busy individuals who are, I would say we like to pursue a lot of things. We like a busy calendar. And I think something that we could do is both of us can just pour more into this and maybe take it more seriously and like see how we can level up our content, which is like we're trying to do now with adding video content creation to our podcast.
I feel like mine will be very similar, but on a personal level, just trying to invest more in my personal growth and education over external things, kind of like what you guys are doing, but with things that make you instant money, whether that's that first job offer or an easy side gig like the restaurant industry, where you can make pretty good money on the side, but it's not very long lasting for your future. So investing more into our podcast, which Skylar and I love doing and we're super passionate about, and networking with super cool people, entrepreneurs like yourselves, other athletes, other former athletes that are high up in other companies or have personal testimonies. So doing more of that versus maybe other jobs that don't hit home as much. And then going forward, like Skylar said, we just need to hone in on our craft a little more. And that's part of just like focusing on what's most important to you, which I think for both of us, this is ranked pretty high.
That's good. I'm glad y'all making improvements. I'm glad y'all striving for more. That's always great. It's always great to see.
Yeah, and I appreciate you asking that question. I think it's a super fascinating question, and I think it's something you could leverage with your brand. And then when you do your pop-up events, your grassroots events, asking them that question and getting them to share a piece of their life and a piece of their story. So super awesome. I'm really excited for both of you, and cheers to the future and cheers to growth. Thank you too for coming on. I know we had some technical difficulties, but we really appreciate your time. And I was super fascinated with desireLess and both of your stories as players and entrepreneurs. And I think what you two are doing is something super awesome. And we're wishing you the best. Hopefully, down the line, when this thing grows and our thing grows, we can have you both on in person and tell more of your story, right?
We appreciate you coming on. We're super pumped for your line in June. Wishing you a smooth launch. And yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yes, cheers.
Yeah.
Email us, DM us, reach out to us, and we look forward to next week. But thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate all of you. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all of the socials, and just follow along with our story. Okay. Bye.